out the haters. It can take freedom from a cold dead hands. We're locked in low for the last dance. 'Cause living on the American gangsters, ready to die for this land.
Consistent with my real gender.
Ready to die for this land.
Welcome to the Patriot Punkcast. I am your host, Chase Matheson, and by now most of you have heard that the judge has reached a decision in the Covenant Tranifesto case. Although I'm on Facebook, so I probably shouldn't have said it that way. The manifesto will not be released, citing, among other things, copyright. Now, we're going to get down into all the laws. We're going to try to examine the decision, and we're going to look at some of the other aspects of copyright, maybe the Son of Sam laws, some of those things that are on the books, and we're going to see how all that plays together. And you may have also heard that there was a catastrophe downtown on the corner of Woodlawn and 14th. And then shortly after that catastrophe was completed, somebody came by and poured black paint all over the catastrophe. Yes, we are talking about the Pride Crosswalk, and there was vandalism done to it this week. I did not win my bet thinking that it would survive 7 days. Whoever had their money on like 4 or 5, you probably hit a good lick. So we're going to be discussing that. Plus, right before the show, I got some exciting breaking news out of Williamson County, and we're going to examine some possibilities that could arise at tomorrow's county commission meeting. So if you would, I believe it's tomorrow. So if you would, make sure you share this with your friends so that we can hopefully stop a disaster from unfolding in Williamson County. And finishing up the show, we will also have some insights on some of the hot races to watch this election cycle. All of you guys know that early voting starts like next week. And there's a lot of races where you should just vote R. And then there's several races where you should actually vote for the I, or at least consider it based on the previous decisions certain individuals have made that have somehow managed to gain endorsements from the Republican Party. But before we get started, I want to introduce my co-host and good friend, Daniel Wagner.
I'm here. I'm hanging out. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, how are you, Daniel?
Man, I've been busy as hell. There's this whole I had an issue with my insurance. Said, hey, by the way, we're gonna drop you next month, so you need to like get your roof fixed and get some other things in order. So I've been like in a mad rush to try to get all that done in the middle of the summer heat at 90+ degrees with a heat index of like 105 or something. So yeah, roofing in the middle of the summer is not fun work.
I had a little bit of that same experience. Started up the girlfriend's car the other day and heard a real bad squeak. And then the battery light came on, and first thing you check is the serpentine belt. And, whoever designed, have you ever seen those videos where you've got the engineers hating at the mechanics because the way they design stuff just does not work in practice? Well, the serpentine belt for a 2008 Nissan Altima requires you to take off the passenger wheel in order to change it. So that was exciting. I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce our guest. I know she's been a bit of a regular on the show.
Well, I suppose if I must, let me see here. Let's bring her in, and I'd like to introduce frequent regular to the show, Miss Amanda Price.
Hello, good evening. It's good to be back.
Appreciate you.
Been several weeks since you've been here, and I figured that the manifesto decision is probably something that's going to be weighing heavy on the minds of parents, and I kind of wanted to get your insight on that. Daniel doesn't normally, I don't know if he really cares about his kids. I'm just kidding, Daniel, but
not really.
But they're all out of school by now, so he doesn't really have a whole lot of insight. Maybe the school shooting thing doesn't worry him as much, and I kind of wanted to see your reaction on the judges, get your take on it. But before we get started, I do need to handle just a little bit of business. So if you could, Daniel, go ahead and bring me up full screen or pull up the website, because as most of you know, we do not take a bunch of corporate funding. We are not brought to you by any of the big pharmaceutical companies, and we don't have a whole lot of nonprofits supporting any of our endeavors. Okay. We don't have a parent company or someone or a nonprofit that's helping us file these open records requests. We don't have an editing company that we can afford to pay for. So all the work we do is completely self-funded and funded by you guys. So if you go to patriotpunknetwork.com, you will be able to see all sorts of investigations that we've done, some documentaries, even some hilarious videos. We will be adding a new one up there after the show tonight. For those of you who are already a member, you got it in your inbox earlier in the week, and that was actually kind of on the DEI crosswalk that we're going to discuss tonight. It was really funny. So if you want to get early access to things like that, you can just flip on over to the support page, and from there sign up to be a monthly member as little as $3 a month, and you will get early access to all sorts of things, including hopefully some live tickets to upcoming events, including one that I will be announcing. I've already kind of tentatively announced it, but we're having a roundtable discussion on school choice. We're just trying to finalize the venue. Members will get early access if there are any tickets available for seats. So please sign up to be a member. If everyone who watched the show signed up to become a member, we could probably put on 2 or 3 shows a week. We could maybe even start to expand the network, bring on new people, cover more stories. But until then, we are also supported in part by Daniel and our and my own personal businesses, one of which is Kirby. And if you have not ever heard of Kirby, it has been around for 110 years, and it's been made in America. And up until just a few years ago, they had only ever been sold through word of mouth, door to door, in-home presentations. Now, you can still buy one on the internet if you wanted to, but the Kirby company really believes that you need to see this product in your house before you make that decision. And we still will come and demonstrate it in your home, show you how it buffs, mops, cleans hardwood, tile, grout. It can shampoo furniture, shampoo carpets, even really thin area rugs without bleeding through onto those precious hardwoods underneath. Then you can turn around and use the same machine to do all of your dusting, all of your sweeping, unclog a drain, sand a table, and even change a light bulb. If this sounds like something that you would like, or if it's remotely interesting to you, you should take a look at one today. This month, our branch is running a bit of a special on trade-ins. So you can get up to $500 trade-in credit on anything that doesn't eat, sleep, or cost money to keep, with some limited exceptions. I'm particularly fond of things that go bang, bang, and electronics, cameras, things like that. Shoot me a Facebook message, reach out to me in the comments, and we will have someone come around, show it to you, and take advantage of the July special. I hope everyone had a good 4th of July. And I'm pretty sure, other than telling you to smash the like button, share the show with your friends, and reminding everyone on Facebook and YouTube that we are going to be axing that feed here in about 10 minutes, I think we're ready to get started. So, first off,
did you say that the Kirby vacuum will change a light bulb?
Yes. And it's not just a vacuum. You can call it a Kirby vacuum if you want, but it's not just a vacuum. But yes, it will change a light bulb. And I have done that multiple times.
Explain that to my dumb little brain, because I'm like, how does a vacuum change a light bulb?
It uses the suction to create a grip using an attachment that doesn't bust the light bulb.
Oh,
and
no,
the nozzle swivels, so you can get up. It's like up to like 14-foot recessed lights, things like that. You won't change a floodlight with it, but it's really handy for that light in the foyer, I think is the fancy way.
Sorry to interrupt. Carry on.
No, so well, first off, did any of you guys have any kind of 4th of July firework injuries this week?
Nope.
Close.
Okay, you got to tell us the story before we get into all the serious news stuff. Did you have a backup Terry moment, or?
Well, I decided to take 2 of my daughters up on the roof and just sit there and see what we could see from our roof. It was the first time we ever did something like that, but our neighbors were shooting off fireworks and they got very close to where we were sitting. We almost got hit a few times, so we had to move, but that's about as close as we got.
So, Daniel, do you think that the guy that came around and inspected your house for your homeowner's insurance would approve of that?
Oh, hell if I know. He was there last month. I ain't worried about that.
So I think the safest topic to discuss while we're still on Facebook would probably be the crosswalk. So for those of you who have been living under a rock, or maybe you have sworn a vow against mainstream media, if so, congratulations. But we did mention it last week on the show that there is a rainbow crosswalk that appeared in Nashville, right outside the Lipstick Lounge, this is the I don't want to call it the prideful area of town, but when you drive out to that side of town, you see a lot more rainbow flags than you do on the west side of town. Let's just say that. So I want to watch this video, and I want to get you to watch it. Okay, so the first thing I noticed is that they weren't painting anything in a straight line. Now, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time harping on them for that because we have a special video with all sorts of really hilarious jokes. But I do want you to take note that everybody except for the woman in the blue shirt reaching in over on the right. Oh, dang. Ooh, made me busy, Daniel.
So I thought that was a repeat button, so it would keep playing. But apparently, it flips it around.
So the lady in the tie-dye hat with the blue shirt, I believe, is the only noticeable woman of color, and they aren't even letting her stand in the middle of the frame. Like, I think it's kind of bogus, but needless to say, the finished product was less than exemplary. When you Google Pride Crosswalk, you get some very well done depictions of Pride crosswalks. This was not one of them. So maybe somebody took offense, but there's another video of what happened. I think this happened on Wednesday afternoon, and we're going to take a look at what happens when the society doesn't necessarily approve. At least that's the story that's been coming through. So that, for those of you listening on Spotify, there's a white van. You might have to start that back again. Oh, it's already starting over. Okay, so there's a white van stopped at the intersection, and as he leans out, can you make that bigger, Daniel?
Oh, I'm working on it.
Okay.
Nice try.
There's a close-up on the right-hand side of him, actually, of a still shot of him dumping the paint out, but he has like 1 pint cans of black paint or tar or something similar, and he paints over it. Now, I really wish that I had the video, and maybe somebody can find it and post it in the comments. It was on Twitter when they announced this, and you can just pause that right there, Daniel. We pointed this out in our video. If you look right next to the stop sign, in between the stop sign and the telephone pole, there's this big black missing streak of white paint. So when they repainted this horrible catastrophe where none of the lines are straight and none of them are evenly measured, they did not include white paint. So a Twitter user argued that it was because the paint wasn't reflective that they actually used, and that the white paint is painted with a special kind that they couldn't get. But when they zoomed in to talk about the vandalism, you could not really see the black paint that was spilled on there. I mean, if you went up and stood right over it, you could. I don't know if there's a close-up you can bring up of that, Daniel, but I don't know if they've actually posted one. And it's because the news report, when you've got the reporter telling you what's going on, and you've got the cameraman trying to depict what, trying to zoom in to show you the vandalism. And he zooms in on the big missing strip of white paint until it clears up and it comes into focus, and he hovers there for like 2 or 3 seconds, and then he realizes, oh, nope, that's not it. And he goes and zooms in on this little bitty black splotch. So I want to get your thoughts on this. First, Amanda, what do you think of the Pride Crosswalk? Just raw thoughts.
Raw thoughts. I think it was probably in a good location in front of the Lipstick Lounge. I mean, I've never been there myself. I've been to Connections back in the day, but I've never been there. Second of all, I don't think it's a rainbow. It's some other kind of variation of colors that they want to look like a rainbow, but it's not a rainbow. It doesn't have all the accurate colors in it. Third thought is that it looks like they've added, what are those, pink and blue at the end? That's trans, right? Is that what that stands for?
Yes.
And so they're including the trans ideology into this, which is a little bit concerning, depending on the variations of trans identity. I've actually, like over a decade ago, I was looking into a lot of different things about trans. Going to school, I looked at how it can happen prenatally if you're exposed to endocrine disrupting chemicals prenatally, and that was a concern of mine. But I think what we're seeing a lot more now in the trans community is the rapid onset gender dysphoria, which is something else entirely, and I have a different take on that than I do. But as far as the painting of the crosswalk, I mean, I wouldn't mess with it. I don't know what that guy felt compelled to mess with it exactly.
Well, so I have a theory. Can you go back one picture, Daniel? Since you
Mhm.
brought up the light pink and the light blue, first off, I want to zoom in, and I know we've made a little humorous video on this, but if you notice right below that's the big missing black segment, and if you go down just a little bit, I don't know if you're able to so you see right below that there is a big blue. It's all over the sidewalk and a big like spill mark. So they spilled it.
Didn't clean it up.
And I've got to word this carefully because we haven't quite axed Facebook and YouTube yet. But if you notice, the light pink and the light blue, much like the ideals in which those colors may represent, they seem to be a bit wider, especially on the first one. And there's other pictures that really demonstrate this than any of the other colors.
Chase, you have to understand that this was actually intentional. The little blue dots that are all running away from the crosswalk. It's because trans men are classically wandering souls. They don't like to stay in nice, neat little lines. So they tend to try to escape from their confines of who they really think they are. So that's the reason for this. It's more representative of an underlying message.
So what's the excuse for all the other colors being outside the lines?
Oh, we've already talked about that in our video. So.
Well, so
but
I want to propose. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say the guy that's running around spreading the paint over the thing. It seems like almost like the black paint. It seems like it was an afterthought. Like he was just like driving through, saw it, and was like, "Oh, what do I got in my car that I could put on?" Because it's like you don't plan, and then you don't make part of your plan bringing a little tiny container of black paint just so you can vandalize a couple square inches of this.
Well, so I have I think I have a idea. I think I have an alternative theory. Now I want you to follow me here. Okay, so as you know, we do have quite a few. We don't get millions of viewers, but the people that watch our show and check in they tend to be well connected. And we do get a lot of hate watchers. And I think that someone has signed up for our list and they saw our video come out and they knew that we were right, that it was just such an abysmal thing that they should have done it better. And they needed an excuse to come out and say, hey, we have to redo it now. But they couldn't come out and say, hey, we tried to take the DEI approach and it did not work. So we need to now go to the merit-based approach and have it done by a professional.
Your theory is mostly sound, but I would say let's flip the roles for a second. Let's say that we are trying to piss off conservatives, right? Mm-hmm. And we hire or we get a community effort together to go out and paint this giant American flag in the middle of this crosswalk, or we turn the crosswalk into an American flag, right?
Okay.
And then days later, we hire somebody to go out there and vandalize that very crosswalk. So we're responsible for both sides of this equation, right? Because we want to get people pissed off. We want to get people upset and think that there's these evil people out there.
I get it. You're trying if in that scenario, that made up scenario, you're trying to convince people that there's a whole lot of anti-patriot Antifa out there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's my general, theory. So maybe it was two people, same side.
What do you think, Amanda? Do you think that that's plausible? Do you think that there's some massive conspiracy to manipulate the average person's opinion and in manipulating their opinion, they felt the need to hire a man. I mean, they're white vans. We all know how, that's a rare vehicle. And the only people that really have white vans are the government, right?
I mean, is there audio on that? Did he drive away screaming, "This is MAGA country" or something like that? I mean, possibly. Stranger things have happened. So, I mean, I don't know. But then you also think of lines. What are lines? Those are like normal people who like to paint and color. They like to stay within the lines and make it look pretty. But queer theory would tell you to stay outside of the lines because you have to reject anything that's normal. So maybe that was their whole angle for painting outside the lines.
What you guys don't understand is the conspiracy theory actually goes deeper. What was the name of the business you said that was?
The Lipstick Lounge.
The Lipstick Lounge. Do you know the Lipstick Lounge is actually owned by the mayor of Nashville, who actually hired those people to come out and paint the crosswalk because he knew it would get the media attention. He knew his business would be in the backdrop. Now, what better way to continue to build business than to hire some people to come vandalize that very crosswalk so that the protesters come out there and patronize the Lipstick Lounge?
Well, now we just have to go to the Lipstick Lounge. That settles it.
Yeah.
We're good at this, guys. We are good at this.
For clarity, we do know that Freddie O'Connell does not own the Lipstick Lounge, but it was funny. That's kind of how conspiracy theories tend to start.
For sure. I see them all the time. It's ridiculous.
So I do think, because it's really the exciting news. I know there's a lot of people who want us to get into the Covenant information. So if you were watching on YouTube or Facebook, we're going to have to say adios. Daniel, if you'll go ahead and click those off for us.
Got it.